मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य मणिस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Om. May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. O self-effulgent Lord, be revealed in my consciousness. May the truths of the scriptures come to me. May not what I learn from them ever forsake me. Let me live my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our true nature, our true self, our innermost unchanging core of our being as a bright spark of light. And let us concentrate on that. This light of the self I see expanding, becoming brighter too. My whole body is filled with it. With that I see the whole universe also is filled with it. All names and shapes, everything as it were merged in this light. I am In this awareness of my true nature, all fictitious distinctions like I and mine have vanished. All desires have attained ultimate fulfillment and thus have vanished. I am bliss itself. I am the supreme peace. Now I see that this infinite, blissful, luminous ocean of consciousness has condensed in the human form of Sri Ramakrishna. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let's begin with our usual prayers. तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ते भूरिदा जनाः। The goal of life as Sri Ramakrishna always maintained, is to experience God. It is put in a simple word that to experience God. What it means is that whatever we seek in life is all right manifested there. No desire will remain unfulfilled. We want bliss. You see that you become bliss there. You want peace, you become peace. That is God. You become immortal as you wanted. You become infinite as you wanted. And thus life reaches its goal. Therefore, this goal is not something that I have arbitrarily decided. Sometimes we feel that the goal of each individual will be different. Who is Sri Ramakrishna to dictate that goal of all is God realization? It is. This question would come spontaneously to anybody. I will decide my goal of life. Why Sri Ramakrishna has to meddle about it? I respect Sri Ramakrishna. I can learn something from him. But my goals are different. My life is different. It is my goal is, you see, to become a best sports person. My goal is to achieve my various career objectives. I want to win a Nobel Prize and so forth. It is why I should share the same idea about goal uh, like Sri Ramakrishna's. Sri Ramakrishna's goal might be God realization. Okay, Godspeed, let him get there as fast as he can. But my goal is to excel in my career as engineer. Now, why Sri Ramakrishna has to say that the goal of all human life is God realization? It is because it doesn't depend really on what you consciously want as your goal. It is decided by the very nature of the things. In Vedanta you hear two very beautiful words, and these words indicate that Vedanta transcends the boundaries of physical sciences in being scientific. It is, you hear two words, Purushanistha and Vastunistha. One that is, that can be determined by a human being according to one's choice, according to the mental constitution and understanding of somebody. One can determine those things, understand those things, look at those things. But there is something called Vastunistha, that is objective nature of that particular thing, irrespective of how you perceive it. Some examples can be given, like somebody may like to swim, somebody may not like to swim. But then, if you swim, you will get wet. It's an objective fact. It is, you cannot really have two opinions about it. You are liking, okay, you like to swim, you go. You don't like to swim, don't go. That is understandable. But if you go to swim, what will happen, Tommy? you get wet. Does it depend on the swimmer? No, it doesn't depend on this person as such. This is an impersonal thing that it is. Yeah, for some people eating salt is good, for some people eating salt is bad. But salt tastes that salty, alkaline. Does it depend on you? No, it doesn't. Salt will have some objective effects on your body. That also does not depend on your likes and dislikes. That is going to happen. It is, these are the objective things. So, you may say that my goal, I like this thing, this is my goal. And that is one idea, one way, personal way of looking at the goal. But there is the objective definition for goal, which is given in various scriptures of Vedanta. Swami Vivekananda has presented it, that getting which nothing remains to be achieved. It is actually a quote from Bhagavad Gita, that getting which nothing remains to be achieved. And that is the goal. Now you apply this criterion. Do you agree that that is the goal? Getting which nothing remains to be achieved. That automatically is the goal. Because if you think of other as something, as goal, getting which something else remains to be achieved, then that something which remains should be called goal. And it is goal of life, means the life comes to a sense of fulfillment, completeness. Nothing more is wanted. Now apply this criterion to what we think of as goal. Like Subhashish may think that my goal is such and such, to get green card of US. So I'm just saying, giving an example, may not be. But what? Even when you get it, what does it mean? Does it completely fulfills you? Well, there are so many. You may think about getting green card, permanent, that ability to live in US. There are so many US residents. Are they fulfilled? Have they really achieved all that they wanted to achieve in life? So obviously that cannot be goal of life. And let my goal be high. I want to get Nobel Prize. Okay, suppose you get it. It is. Yes, there will be a lot of honor for you. You will be called to address many meetings. There will be you will become a celebrity. Your pictures and all will flash in all media. But then the question will still remain, okay, what next? I got the Nobel Prize, what next? So there is always next. You may think that I will, all the money that I get from Nobel Prize, I will spend in charity. So that is the next thing now, find out a charity. And then see whether that charity does good work or not. So the goal, it is getting Nobel Prize was then it obviously not the goal, because something remains to be achieved. Let me become the richest man in the world. And then what happens? Well, you still, what do I do with the money? And then Tomorrow somebody else becomes richer than me. And I was told somebody else has now surpassed Bill Gates. So whatever it is, but it is so that cannot be the goal of life. It is, what is the, then how do we decide what is the goal of life? Sri Ramakrishna, why does he say God realization is the goal of life? See, look at what we want fundamentally. Clearly one can see then that why God realization is the goal of life. That we want bliss. There are no two opinions on that. We want happiness. And other things we want for getting happiness. It is like I want good health. For what? So that I will be happy. I want good physical and mental health. So I will be full of happiness and peace. So my goal is peace, happiness. How much do I want it? Well, it cannot be stipulated. I want 5 pounds of peace. Can you put it like that? There is no unit by which to, measure my requirement of peace. It is, I like that story. It feels peaceful. It is so relative. It is told about one Zen master that one of his students came and told him, oh, my days have become now so full of disturbance. What happened? In my home, myself, my 2 children and my wife, we were staying. It is just one room house. Somehow or other we were managing. We have a courtyard outside, and so we were somehow within that space we were managing. Now my in-laws have come to stay, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, all of them, another 5 people have come to stay with us. And it is so noisy to be there. It is the whole house, all peace is gone. Oh, everybody is talking and arguing and fighting and all that is going on. Oh, it is so terrible. But they are my close relatives. How can I say no to them? And they need to stay. So, what can I do? It is feeling so bad. He said, well, you do farming. Do you have any animals, some other thing? He said, well, I have 4 chickens and 4 goats. Okay. Bring them also in the house. They are staying, they are outside, but now bring them in the house. And then he said, but where to keep it? Well, listen, do what I say. And then, as the command of the Guru, he did that. And then after 1 week he came. Oh, so yes, Guru, what you told I exactly did like that. And how does it feel? Oh, the whole house stinks and it's so noisy. In addition to the noises of people, now there is quack, quack, quack and bah, 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 bah. It has become like a hell. Oh, I see. Okay, now you put those animals back in the courtyard again and tell me how you feel. Come after 1 week. And then he asked again, "Oh, how do you feel now?" "Oh, it feels so peaceful." It feels so peaceful. So, how much peace do we want? We want peace that cannot be measured. It is infinite. It is, and also this bliss and peace we want in such a way that it should not depend on external situations, political situations or financial situations or the weather situations. That should not govern my happiness or, or my peace. So, that infinite peace, infinite bliss, infinite love, infinite existence, if you get that, what more do you want to get? What more do you want to get? Think of it, what more do you want to get? Naomi, what do you want to get? That's you have got infinite peace now, so that's enough, isn't it? So that is God realization. God is that. That is God. Peace, bliss, infinite and independent of anything. Another way of putting it is that one becomes totally free. Another way of putting this goal is, I want to be free. It is. So this is freedom, that God is freedom. God is all knowledge. One can put the goal like this also. I want to know everything in the world. I should not have any ignorance at all. Okay. A very good thought. You will become all-knower by God realization. God is all knowledge, all wisdom. Nothing remains then to be known. Isn't it, Jim? Yeah, think about it. That when you thus realize God, you don't need to get anything. And this is true for all creatures, especially for human beings. And that is why the goal, whether you like it or you don't like it, whether you think about it as goal or you don't think about it as goal, it is objectively your goal. There cannot be any bargaining about it. It is non-negotiably your goal in life. And that Sri Ramakrishna demonstrated in his own life. The whole, actually, that word comes sadhana or spiritual practice or religious practice. All that is geared to transform our life in different stages, by different grades, to reach that goal. And that is how, as we go on that path, we get different visions. Different types of awareness comes to us as we pass from stage to stage. Like if you say start traveling from here to the west coast, you will see as you go the landscape would change. It is as you go through the eastern part of the Midwest, you will see the territory is flat, just flat. It is no hills at all. As you drive further west, you may see that it is, oh, again lots of hills have come. The landscape has changed. You will see the snow-capped hills that you start driving into. As you go further, again the landscape changes. You will reach the Pacific Ocean, and that's it. You can then, as you board a ship, you can again the situation changes. You will see various different things. So as you are on the journey, the stages, your perceptions change. This happens even if you are not a spiritual practitioner, but it is all on a lateral plane. It is not changing the altitude. It is not a vertical transformation. It is just horizontal transformation. Spiritual life is going beyond this whole plane. It goes, rationally speaking, when you proceed by the way of reason, then you see, what do I get here? Here the life, what is it living? Coming, and then growing, and then dying, and then is running after various different things, getting pain from that, and learn to call it pleasures. One Ram Prasad song is there in Bengali. It has a very nice word, that's line. Neem khawale chini bole. Did you hear this song, Subhashish? No? Neem khawale chini bole. Means when you are being given a very terribly bitter thing, now you eat it and call it sugar. That is the nature of our pleasures here. That it is pain, but we somehow have learned to call it pleasures. They are pains. So this is life, and you see, no, I don't want this. I want to go beyond this. My aspirations can never be fulfilled on this plane. That song I like in that movie Wizard of Oz. That little girl says that somewhere over the rainbow, there my dreams will come true. What I want I can get there. It is there that I want to go. That is a beautiful idea. Rainbow is this, under the rainbow is this plane of variety. Rainbow indicates, the one getting split into 7 colors. So, this is here, I don't want to be in this plane. I want to transcend this plane. Now as you move upwards in consciousness, then the visions, the perceptions, they change. They change very dramatically. It is how dramatically? It is, imagine, even that cannot be really compared, because it is again, and that is the experience that we get from just within this limitation of 5 senses. But imagine, you see, that when you go in a zero gravity state, they simulate it in NASA and other places, how different it feels. Then you also are shown that how 3G, triple gravity is generated mechanically. It is, and then you go there, and how different it is. You can't lift a finger, not that you are tied down. Your hands are just like that. Lift the hand. It becomes almost impossible because there is the gravity is triple than what we have it here. It is therefore they tell if you have some breathing problem, just you say put your finger, you just do it like this, some finger movement, that much you can do and we will stop it. Because even the motion of lungs, that movement of muscles under 3G becomes very difficult. So what I mean is, what a different experience. Now when you go from one psychological plane, where you get not the experience of these senses, but some transcendence of these senses, a different set of senses come to you. That is how you go from one plane to another plane and you rise. This is described as the awakening and rising of the Kundalini. It is the world of experience changes. This is very, very different, friends. Please do not confuse it with the altered change of awareness by taking some psychedelic drugs. That gives you a very different experience. But that is not what is meant here. It is those things are very different. They are very temporary, and in fact they put you under more bondage than an illuminated state. So they are not at all part of spiritual practice, friends. It is somehow these days in America, by just reading a few things from yoga books here and there, many feel that taking those drugs makes you get into samadhi. No, it is the opposite. You even lose your present state of sensibility. It is you become, rather than becoming more free, you become more a slave. It is, but it is surprising to see many university professors, learned graduates, that they say that, well, why go and meditate and take some such substance, and then that puts you in an altered state of consciousness. You get the experience of samadhi. Well, it is a terrible, terrible thing that somehow has acquired popularity. These things are not cheap. Samadhi is not a cheap thing like that. It is the transcendence of our senses is an arduous task of working on our mind, and thus it frees itself from this network. It is like this, that suppose you have, they say, the blue glasses or black glasses put on your eyes, and you see everything as black. You cannot see any other color here. So it is when you take those glasses off, how different your world will become. So just learn to remove this glass of our sense organs. They are only limiting our awareness. They are not bringing knowledge to us. They are only covering our knowledge. And therefore one has to learn to transcend it. And when you transcend it, you still have it if whenever you need it. Okay, I have to talk to these people, so let me put on my sensors, just as you put on your dark glasses. Oh, I have to drive in sun, and it will be better to put the dark glasses on. You can put it on, but then you are not limited by it. When you forget that it is these dark glasses are limiting your vision, it becomes a problem. As I mentioned, it happened to me. I had put on those glasses and then forgot about it, and I thought, what, the dashboard, the figures are not looking, what switch I have to, so it is, I went on, fiddling around this, and then I realized, oh, stupid of me, it is nothing has gone bad with the car or the dashboard. Hey! And the things were so nice. So, imagine, that if we can take out this network of senses and brain, keep it aside. Oh my goodness, what a world of experience emerges before us. So, all these experiences you get in that levels of Kundalini between the sphere of heart and what is described, and the throat, and between throat and the eyebrows. That is where you get all these different experiences. Because of this, you are being able to now take the body as it were away from you. It is in dream that happens unconsciously. When you go into the dream, these things happen unconsciously. That certain new awareness comes, and in dream it is always consistent. In the retreat in Chicago, that Ganges retreat that I attended last Saturday, so one participant asked this question. You say that this world is like dream, but dream, you see, it is different for different people. My dream will not be the dream of our Mihir, and Mihir's dream will not be the dream of Samir. They are all different, but here we see, all of us see the same thing. It is, I also see these lights, you also see the same lights, I see the chairs, you also see the chairs. So how do you compare this with dream? The answer is, while you are in dream, all those people that you are seeing in the dream, they share the same vision. They share the same vision. So, in this dream, whomsoever we are perceiving, they are at the same level, and therefore they see the things the same way as we see. This in fact proves that this is also like a dream. So, in dream but when we remember what we saw in dream, it is so strange that, oh, I actually was riding an elephant which had wings, it could fly. And in dream it is perfectly consistent, no problem at all. And as I was flying, I went to this star and I met some other people there like me, and so forth. It is So the dream experience is, but it happens that actually can tell us that our perception through the senses is not all that we perceive. There is a world beyond this. So, this is what Sri Ramakrishna is telling, that the spiritual awareness gets cultivated through sadhana, through spiritual practice. And as it is cultivated, as we walk on that path, then our experiences start changing. And this transformation happens. This is called spiritual transformation. And therefore our preferences change. One important thing that happens is our preferences change. We become more loving, compassionate, and less selfish. Because we start seeing more and more unity in our experiences, and therefore our selfishness is reduced, our love increases, our various desires for sense enjoyment start dwindling, because we find happiness without them. So we are not running after them anymore. You see these things happening in one's life. Our understanding even of the worldly things becomes more keen. It is not that if one becomes spiritually enlightened or goes up in this awareness, then you are not interested in many of those things. But if you want to look at them, your keen understanding of those you see much enhanced. It is all these things you can see in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. And here we see the description that is given, that Sri Ramakrishna is telling all these things in such a simple way. The incarnations of God come to make religion very simple, to remove all that technical jargon that makes people more confused. So uses very simple language, full of lot of parables which people can relate to easily, and thus these things become. So he is telling people how to see this experience, how to his experience is at various different stages of going up. Last time we saw, he says that something seems to move from spinal column upwards. That is a description. It is, but remember, that is preceded by years and years of intense spiritual practice, and thereby having no trace of worldly desires binding him. So he can easily see and describe, and then he describes stage after stage, and we shall read how he describes it. It is a immensely interesting account, and one can, please listen very carefully. How often the master made great efforts to control himself, yet failed to describe to us the visions and experiences he had when his mind reached the center above the throat. One of our friends told us, one day the master said emphatically, "Today I will tell you everything. I will keep nothing secret." He described clearly the centers and the corresponding experiences up to the heart and throat. And then pointing to the sixth center between the eyebrows, he said, "When the mind reaches this point, one gets the vision of the Paramatman, the Supreme Self, and enters Samadhi. Only a thin, transparent veil intervenes between the individual self and the Supreme Self. One then sees." And as he attempted to provide details about the vision of the Paramatman, he went into Samadhi. When his mind came down a little, he tried again and again, became immersed in Samadhi. After repeated fruitless attempts, he said tearfully, "Look, I sincerely wish you to tell you everything without hiding anything whatsoever. But the mother won't let me do so. She keeps closing my mouth." Dumbfounded, we thought, what is this? We see he is trying his utmost to tell us his experience, and moreover, he is in pain because he is unable to express himself. This mother is really a mischievous woman. He wants to tell us something good about God realization. So why is she holding his mouth closed? At that time we did not understand that the mind and intellect through which one must speak are very limited, and unless one goes beyond their range, one cannot have complete realization of the Supreme Self. Did we then understand that the Master was trying to make the impossible possible for his love for us? Just friends, feel this, that what a tremendous capability Sri Ramakrishna has, and what tremendous love he has for all of us, that he is trying to describe how this experience of God realization is. But then all instruments become redundant there, cannot describe that. You cannot describe those things. He used to give the example that suppose a salt doll. Hey Jim, Jim, hello. So if suppose a salt doll decides to measure the depth of the sea, and then so jumps into the sea. Now can it come out and tell, this is the depth of the sea that I measured? So it is like that. Were you in another world, Jim? So it is, yeah, okay. So it is, you like that you merge, you cannot describe anything. And by this, Sri Ramakrishna could not describe it. But in a way, did he not describe it? That this is that state. He went into that state that people could witness. And so, in a way, to the best that it can be explained, he explained it. That there is no word that can communicate at that level. So he tells further, Swami Saradananda says, the master described to us the experiences he had when Kundalini rose through the Sushumna channel. Look, he would say, that which rises to the brain with a tingling sensation does not always move in the same way. The scriptures speak of its 5 kinds of motion. First, it moves like an ant. One feels a slow creeping sensation from the feet upwards, like a row of ants crawling along with food in their mouths. When it reaches the brain, the aspirant merges into samadhi. Second, it moves like a frog, just as a frog makes 2 or 3 short jumps in quick succession, stops for a while, then proceeds again in the same way. So something is felt advancing from the feet to the brain. When it reaches the brain, the aspirant goes in samadhi. Third, it moves like a serpent. As a snake, it lies quietly straight or coiled up, but moves in a zigzag motion when it sees prey or is frightened. So does the Kundalini move upward to the head. When it reaches the brain, the aspirant goes into samadhi. Fourth, it moves like a bird. The birds in their flight from one place to another sometimes fly a little high, sometimes low, but never stop till they reach their destination. Likewise, something is felt moving towards the head. When it reaches the brain, samadhi ensues. Fifth, it moves like a monkey. As a monkey goes from one tree to another, leaping from branch to branch, and clearing the distance in 2 or 3 bounds, so the yogi feels the Kundalini power go to the brain and samadhi follows. The result is the same, samadhi, but the emotion is according to the constitution becomes different. But the transcendence is the common thing in all. Whatever vehicle you may take, there will be this common thing that you will advance towards the destination. So, if you are going by plane, you will go up and then go there, and like when I was going to Chicago last time, it started all right. In fact, I texted the one who was coming to pick me up, oh, we left a few minutes before time. But then on the way, there was so much of headwinds and things were so tumultuous. With the plane was doing all sorts of drama. So it is somewhat scary ride. So it is that is what you see in the it happens on this plane journey. It is bumpy rides. So just as on the roads you may have bumpy rides of one type, in the skies you may have bumpy rides. So it is a lot of air bumps. So every path will have its characteristic experiences. But if you are, say, driving, you will see distance to Chicago, say 1100 miles. And as you drive for, say, 2 hours in the right direction, what will it show, Tommy? 1200 miles. Hey, That means you are going in the wrong direction, isn't it? If 2 hours ago, when you started to go to Chicago, it was 1100 miles. And then if you are driving towards Chicago for 2 hours, if it shows 1200 miles, then what do you understand? Wrong direction. But if you are driving in the right direction, you will see the distance to Chicago on your GPS, it will start dropping. Similarly, in the plane also, it starts dropping. It drops there faster than on the road. But that is how, that is the common aspect, that you will reach the goal, and as you advance, the distance between you and the goal will reduce. So this is, we will continue this reading, and then these visions occur. Next, he is going to describe different types of visions that he encountered while this was happening. Today's time is over, so we have to stop here. So, any questions if you have? Okay, Charlie, come on.
You said that on the spiritual path we become more loving and compassionate and less selfish and see more unity. What about all the millions of religious people who commit violence against other religions or who violate their celibacy and abuse children or have, what about them? Aren't they up to it?
They are, they are by title they are religious, not by practice necessarily. So therefore those things are to be differentiated, that what is religion and what passes for religion are not the same thing. Like justice and what passes for justice, are they same thing, Charlie? No, you know it very well being an activist. That what is justice and what passes for justice is different. So it is similarly what is passed for as religion and what is religion is different. Now all those crimes that you are describing, do you mean to say that those who are not religious don't commit them? So there is no difference, because this is only the change of the label from non-religious religious. What difference does it make? It is just change of label. Swami Vivekananda used to say, at least those who call themselves atheists, they are at least honest. It is. But if you are following certain religious ideas, then this transformation will take place for sure. Any other question? So we will conclude with the closing prayers. The spiritual retreat is coming up by Swami Chetanananda on October 13th, Saturday, October 13th, and the registration, I think tomorrow is the last day for the registration at a concessional rate. Afterwards, of course, also you can register, just you have to pay $10 more, that's all. So, and as long as the seats remain, Chetanananda is a very senior monk of our order. In fact, he is the translator of this book. He has so many great titles that he has written, and a speaker of great ability. So, if you have not registered, I suggest register as soon as possible. And then let us close with the regular closing prayers. And yes, This Sunday there is the guest lecture by Chester Bonsek. He is going to speak upon on this topic of profiting from the prophet. It is how to profit from the prophet. So let us close with the closing prayer. May the divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.